Seconds. What was that he said about something impossible?
The King has completed one of his toughest missions yet and brought the Impossible Whopper to K-Man. The Impossible Whopper, just like the regular Whopper, but made from plants. Brand new on island and only at Burger King. 7 Mile Beach, Waterfront, Walker's Road, and Red Bay.
For the Record is brought to you by Vamped Motors, the only authorized Ford and Toyota dealership serving the Cayman Islands. K-Man Pharmacy Group, with a location in West Bay and professional pharmacy at CTMH Doctors Hospital. The K-Man Pharmacy Group has a location for you just around the corner. Seaboard Marine, with over 35 shipping ports, find your shipping solution by calling 949-4977 or visit seaboardmarine.com for competitive rates. Coca-Cola, available across the Cayman Islands from Tortuga distributors. Accept no substitutes. Taste the feeling with Coca-Cola. Brand Source Home Gallery, inspiring luxury. And Fidelity Bank. Fidelity, we're good for you.
Also brought to you by Ropers Enterprises, 122 Industrial Way. Products and services for better public health. Green Turtle. Take a ride on the Green Turtle Express today. Download the Green Turtle app, the future of mobile, saving lives today. And the Ministry of Commerce, Planning and Infrastructure. Visit energy.gov.ky/competition to win a home energy makeover worth up to $20,000.
This is For the Record with ORRETT Connor.
Coming to you live from Radio Cayman Studio.
For the record.
For the record. For the record. Hear from your government officials, independents, and the opposition on issues that matter to you.
For the record.
Engage in an open dialogue between residents and lawmakers.
For the record.
For the record. For the record.
Informative, impartial, insightful.
This is your talk show.
1-800-534-8255. Your calls, your input. This is For the Record. And now, your host, ORRETT Connor.
Good morning and welcome to For the Record. Today is Friday, the 13th day of November 2020. Folks, pay no attention to that. The 13th, and it's Friday. Just pretend as if it's any other Friday of the week, of the month, or the year. Go about doing your usual things, your usual business, and you will find everything will go smoothly. Everything will go smoothly. So, today, Friday the 13th of November 2020, I hope and I trust that everyone had a restful, peaceful, enjoyable evening. Those of you who are on the roads of the Cayman Islands, again, we urge you to please be extremely cautious. Whether you're a pedestrian, a cyclist, or operating any type of motorized vehicle on the roads, please ensure that you observe the rules of the road. Remember that the life you save may be your own. If you're celebrating a birthday today, we want to wish you a happy birthday, or if you've celebrated one over the past few days, a belated happy birthday. For those of you who have lost loved ones, again, we want to extend our sincere condolences to you, and we hope and we trust that your faith will help to carry you through these very challenging times. So, folks, I want to thank you for allowing Radio Cayman, and by extension, For the Record, into your homes, into your vehicles, as you traverse the busy roads of the Cayman Islands, into your places of work, wherever that may be. As you know, For the Record is a show produced by the staff and management of Radio Cayman, and it is geared towards keeping you abreast of issues as they arise and play out on the local, regional, and international scene. I am your host, ORRETT Connor, and you're welcome to join me every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday from 7:30 a.m. until 10 a.m. During that period, our phone lines are open. This morning, it is the voice of DJ Lynn waiting to take your calls. You can call us on our toll-free number, provided courtesy of Flow. That toll-free number is 1-800-534-8255. You can also call us on 949-8037 and 949-6990. Email us, For the Record, one word, For the Record, at candw.ky. WhatsApp us on 925-3261. You can leave us a text message or send us a voice note, the contents of which will be played during the course of the show. And of course, you can follow us on YouTube simply by subscribing to Radio Cayman live stream. It is my pleasure to have in the studio with me this morning none other than the Governor, His Excellency, Mr. Martin Roper. He is in the studio with me. and he will be here until about 9 o'clock this morning. We will be taking calls. The governor will be taking calls, giving you an opportunity to ask questions, to express your concerns. More than likely, we will have a lot of people wanting to call in, so we're going to ask you to try to be as succinct, as brief as possible when you do get on the show. So without any further ado, I want to say good morning, Governor. Welcome back to For the Record, sir.
Good morning, OC. It's a pleasure to be here and on this bright and sunny Friday morning. You mentioned Friday the 13th. Actually, 13 was always my lucky number at school. So I don't know why I was always allocated that number, and it worked for me. So I think it's a wonderful number and a wonderful day.
It certainly is. It certainly is. We're going to be talking, Governor, about several things. We're going to be talking about constitutional issues. We're going to be also talking about the Defense Regiment Bill, as well as the COVID-19 generally. So I'll start out by sharing with our audience the Chief Medical Officer, Dr. John Lee's report on yesterday, the 12th of November, where it was reported that there were 202 COVID-19 tests that had been administered since the last report, and one person, a traveler in isolation, has tested positive. So again, we see occasional tests, positive tests being reported, but that is the intent of the testing process, to identify those that are positive. Your comment, sir?
Yeah, no, it absolutely is, and we've done we're approaching 50,000 tests fairly soon that we've sort of conducted in the islands, and I would say that I think the processes we have in place to manage incoming travellers, which remains our greatest risk, that they're working. When we started this current scheme offering the home isolation for 14 days with testing on arrival, testing after 14 days, the physical surveillance of people going around checking, plus the wristband. That was started with a pilot in mid-September. So we've been doing this now for almost 2 months, and it's worked. So I pay tribute to the Deputy Governor and so many of his staff across so many of our teams who are having to work incredibly hard to keep that process working so effectively. So I think we pretty much have normality back in our lives in the islands, and it's we should be very thankful that we've got that. I mean, you look around the world at the moment, and situation remains difficult in the UK. England is pretty much locked down, apart from schools and universities are still open and factories. The United States, the figures yesterday were really worrying. I think the numbers of cases of COVID in the US has doubled in 10 days.
Yes.
Which is an extraordinary figure, and the number very, very sadly, the number of deaths are going up. They had 2,000 deaths yesterday. We had 500 deaths in the UK. These are daily deaths.
And the experts, the scientists, have warned that this would happen.
That's absolutely right. And so again, if you put into context what we have, I mean, I know I do recognise there are a number of different viewpoints, people wanting us to sort of move faster and open up, but I think the vast majority of people I speak to want the government to continue to be very cautious in how it proceeds from here. I do think the developments around vaccines are really exciting. I think the announcement by Pfizer and BioNTech that vaccine has provided 90% success rate in providing immunity for COVID, I think is far greater than anyone expected. Yes. There are other vaccines in development, and I've been in close touch with the UK authorities about the supply of vaccines to the overseas territories, including Cayman, and the UK has promised to supply vaccines to the overseas territories free of charge as part of the first rollout of vaccines in the UK. So we have some prospect of vaccines arriving on island next month, and there's a lot of work going on now to work out how we can start to use those. So,
sir, what do you say then to those businesses, those executives who are calling? Well, it is certainly reasonable for them to say to the government, what is your plan in terms of reopening? But for those who seem to be quite anxious about reopening and not taking into consideration what is happening worldwide, what do you say to them, sir?
I say that I understand, and I think the government fully understands just how difficult this is for people's businesses, for their livelihoods, and yes, it's really tough. It is really tough, but we've got ourselves into a very good place in the Cayman Islands. I think there is, with the development of vaccines now, the possibility that how we handle people coming in and out can evolve in line with the development of vaccines. So I think we just have to, again, focus on the health and welfare and well-being of everybody on these islands and maintain the very good position we've got ourselves in. I mean, government's finances, clearly they've taken a big hit because of the drop in tourism revenue, but the sort of the good economic management and the surpluses that were in place previously provide a cushion, which perhaps again give Cayman more space than perhaps many other territories, countries in the region have for its response to this. So I continue to strongly support the current strategy. I think it's the right strategy, and I think the vaccines now does potentially offer a route out of this as we get into next year. And I know there's a lot of work going on behind the scenes to work out exactly what that looks like.
Certainly. We do have a caller on hold, but we're going to take a commercial break first. When we return, we will take that caller. So folks, please stay tuned. For the record, with Governor Roper will continue after this short commercial break.
The Cayman Islands boasts of a long, colorful, and rich history. In tribute to our roots, Radio Cayman, the voice of the Cayman Islands, is pleased to bring you the Historical Vignette Series. Brought to you by Rotary Central. For more than 110 years, Rotary members have used their passion, energy, and intelligence to take action on sustainable projects. The Cayman Islands, He hath founded it upon the seas.
A hot topic today, just as it was then, was the political rights of women. Often misunderstood, the Constitution of the Cayman Islands did not disallow the rights to women in regards to voting. Although, as noted by Commissioner Jarrett, in 1954, women were not excluded from voting, but that custom had always decreed that they did not. Further complications arose when Miss E. Cook Borden signified her intention to stand for election that year. Although the law did not exclude women, it specifically did not also include them, which had the same effect that was born out of an unspoken Caymanian custom. The matter would subside until 1957, when the Caymanian women mobilized to demand their political rights, and after a year and a half of political delays, the Sex Disqualification Removal Bill was passed into law on December 8, 1958.
Radio Cayman's Historical Vignettes was brought to you by Rotary Central. For more than 110 years, Rotary members have used their passion, energy, and intelligence to take action on sustainable projects.
Rotary Central Music Extravaganza tickets are moving like a whole glass of swanky on a hot Cayman Black Day. Get your tickets now from Rotary Central members, Rotary Ticket Sellers, eventpro.ky, Funky Tanks, A.L. Thompson's Home Depot, Mango Tree Restaurant, Seabird's Bar, Eastern Avenue, Tashara Lewis in Cayman Black. Get your golden tickets. Get ready to be a winner. Stand your chance to win $40,000. Second prize $4,000. 6 $1,000 prizes and more. The Music Extravaganza 2020. Building bus shelters throughout the Cayman Islands, supporting over 70 Rotary community projects. Rotary Central, not-for-profit number 232. Rotary opens opportunity.
Green Turtle. Modern solutions to get you through the new normal. Download the Green Turtle app now and top up yours or a loved one's phone with any mobile carrier in any destination. Home delivery of laptops, tablets, phones, accessories, and iTunes and major online retailer gift cards. And now, home deliveries of groceries and courier service. Guaranteed delivery within 2 hours from 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. Visit their list of products at greenturtle.ky or download the Green Turtle app today. Green Turtle is not only the future of mobile, but today it can help save a life. Take a ride on the Green Turtle Express today. Download the Green Turtle app, the future of mobile, saving lives today.
Fidelity Bank would like to thank all essential workers. We salute your efforts and thank you for the sacrifices you've made to keep us all safe. During these challenging times we're facing, our top priority is the health and safety of the communities we serve. And while it's true that things are changing rapidly every day, one thing that will never change is our commitment to giving you the best and sound financial solutions to help you during and after the coronavirus pandemic. At Fidelity Bank, our focus will always be you. Fidelity, we're good for you.
Stronger, wider, higher, lighter. The all-new Ford Ranger Raptor.
Powerfully built with a 2.0 diesel Panther engine and 210 horsepower. Modern with leather interior and 8-inch touchscreen, Sync 3 technology and power features. Tough, built to handle the off-road with 4-wheel drive, terrain modes, and a 10-speed automatic transmission. Coming early October to Vamped Motors, Walkers Road. To find out more and to test drive the bold new Ford Ranger Raptor, visit Vamped Motors, Walkers Road, or call 949-8288.
What's that? No sugar, same amazing taste? Coca-Cola Zero Sugar is here to stay. Classic taste, pure satisfaction. Be sure to stop into any Tortuga location and get your own case of Coke Zero. Or grab an ice cold one straight from the cooler. Brought to you by Tortuga Distributors Limited. Coca-Cola, taste the feeling, K-Man.
Did you know the third most important factor for customer retention is cleanliness? With 95% of shoppers saying exterior appliance influences where they decide to shop. Keep your business clean with Roper's Janitorial. From offices to restaurants, interior and exterior, walls to rugs and flooring. Roper's cleans it all, including 24-hour emergency service. Roper's Janitorial, 949-2511, or email janitorial@ropers.ky. Dress your business for success with Roper's Janitorial. We make your business shine. 949-2511. Roper's, providing products and services for better public health.
System 1 loaded.
1-800-534-8255. What is on your mind when it comes to the government, independence, and the opposition? Issues that matter to you. 1-800-534-8255. Waiting to hear from you. For the Record.
This is For the Record with ORRETT Connor.
Good morning and welcome back to For the Record. It is my pleasure to have in the studio with me this morning His Excellency, the Governor, Mr. Martin Roper. We do have one caller. Caller, good morning. Welcome to For the Record.
Good morning, OC, and good morning to His Excellency, the Governor, Mr. Roper. How are you doing?
Good morning, sir. Good morning. How are you?
Good morning.
I'm well. Thanks for asking. I was just asking the Governor if he's aware that there's a proposed bill in the UK calling to allow 6 MPs from the various overseas territories to be representatives in the Parliament in the UK. And if so, was his office made aware or asked any questions in respect to this proposal, or was that an independent thing that was done in the UK? I was quite surprised by the report that I saw from another overseas territories that this bill is going to the UK Parliament.
No, I have no information on that whatsoever, but I will happily find out. I'd be very surprised if that's correct or even happening at all. So I'm not going to comment on something that I've not seen or been consulted on. So I don't really want to make any more comment on that just now.
Totally understand. Thank you so much for your time, OC. Have a wonderful show and have a good day, Mr. Roper.
Okay. Thank you very much, Mr. Bryan, for that as well. Yeah, that has been brought up in the past before. I think there's one MP, Andrew Rosendale, I believe, who is a strong proponent of that. But you would expect that without consultation with the overseas territories in terms of whether or not they want that representation. Because I know in Cayman, some persons have expressed some skepticism about it because they're fearful that if that happens, then we may be subjected to some form of taxation here in the Cayman Islands if we have that UK representation. We started right on to the topic of COVID-19, but I'd also like to give you an opportunity to speak about your tenure here in the Cayman Islands. I believe it is a little bit over 2 years since you have been here. Time goes so quickly
it is.
when you're having fun.
Absolutely. That's it has gone incredibly quickly. And as one sort of gentleman who I see says to me quite frequently, I must be doing something right because I lasted longer than the last chap. It's just, am I?
Just going to bring the mic a little further.
Okay. It's been an incredibly busy period. I mean, leaving aside COVID, which of course the whole world has had to go through this incredible experience with COVID. There was a lot going on, and Lizzie and I are both really enjoying spending this time in the Cayman Islands, and I continue to try and be active and get out and about and support the community. I continue to do my utmost for the people of these islands, and I think in terms of the relationship with the UK, I think it's extremely constructive. The current relationship between the Premier and Cabinet and UK ministers is a very constructive one. I think the constitutional change that we've been able to agree reflects that very clearly, and it's a signal of the UK's confidence in Cayman that constitutional package has been agreed. We started it in December 2018, so it's taken quite a while, but of course the COVID intervened and sort of set things back quite a bit. But I think that's it's a really important package for a number of reasons, and a vote of confidence in Cayman, in its vibrant democracy, in its institutions, and in its people. So I'm very pleased about that. I think the Defence Regiment is something that I've promoted, having understood clearly from the Premier, from Speaker Bush, from the Leader of the Opposition, that it was something that Cayman very much wanted. I'm delighted that went through the Legislative Assembly by consensus. I know there were some concerns and they were addressed, but I think this is going to be a real step forward for Cayman in terms of resilience in dealing with natural disasters and hurricanes. And the regiment already played a really important role in the response to Tropical Storm Eta. They were out and about and helping people get to the shelters. So they're already contributing as part of a wider team effort. I've supported Cayman on financial services, visited New York twice, and supported the industry at events with international participants. And really pleased that Cayman quite rightly got off that EU list of non-cooperative jurisdictions, which is really important for the jurisdiction. So I continue to do my utmost for the people of these islands, and I will continue to do that. And 2 years has just gone incredibly quickly. Haven't even mentioned that we had the Prince of Wales visit, of course, which was a real highlight with the Duchess of Cornwall. Seems a long time ago now. It's 18 months ago, but that visit I think really did cement what I see is real strong affection for the royal family in the Cayman Islands. And I don't know whether you saw yesterday the UK announced some plans that in 2022 we'll be celebrating the Queen's 70th year on the throne, which, if you think about that, is quite incredible. She's a wonderful lady, and I know there's real respect for Her Majesty here in the islands, and we'll obviously have to look at how we can celebrate that as well. So I'm very confident about Cayman's future. I think Cayman will bounce back very strongly from this current crisis that we're all going through. I think there's a lot of construction going on around the islands, which is again a vote of confidence in Cayman's future when things get back to normal, and the vaccine I think will play a real part in that. And I think there is hope that in the first quarter of next year, possibly by spring, things can really be getting back to normal, and that should give us all a lot of optimism and hope as we go into the Christmas period.
Certainly. So, sir, what do you say to those persons who believe that the creation of the Cayman Islands Regiment is part of a broader scheme that the UK has planned for the overseas territories. What do you say to that?
I'd say it's complete nonsense. It really is complete nonsense. The UK's only objective in supporting a regiment is to support Cayman. And I say again, and I keep saying it, this is Cayman's regiment. It's not a UK regiment. It's Cayman's regiment. Of course, it comes under the governor because defence is a governor responsibility. But governor's responsibilities require partnership and working with the elected government. I mean, I don't control any budgets, so anything that happens in areas of the governor's responsibility require cooperation and partnership with the elected government for the budgets in those areas. So it has to be a partnership. There's no real division. Everything that the governor does is in partnership with the Premier and the elected members. So I would say that the regiment and Turks and Caicos is also making good progress in setting up a regiment. It was an offer to all overseas territories purely and simply to increase resilience in responding to humanitarian crises, hurricanes, disasters, and it will help Cayman, and we've already seen it's doing that. Tropical Storm Eta, we had a body of men and women trained and able to get out there and really support people, but it will help the region as well. I hope in the future, if other countries or overseas territories have major sort of hurricanes or disasters, we will have a group of trained men and women who can go and support. And Cayman's got a fantastic reputation for supporting the region. We've sent our helicopter off to the Bahamas, to Turks and Caicos. We've sent aid and medical personnel. So I just think this is a win-win all round. It's a win for Cayman in having this regiment. It's a win for the region because it's extra resilience for the region, and it's a win for the UK because we're providing technical assistance to support Cayman to build up that regiment. And the UK has already funded up to £1 million so far in all the training, all the equipment, the uniforms for this regiment. So that's a significant contribution from the UK. It's simply the technical assistance, and we have two more junior officers, two young Caymanians at Sandhurst now. So that's 7 in total who've gone to do a 2-month intense training course, the best leadership and a training course, military training course there is in the world at Sandhurst, and that is really really valuable. So I hope people will come to recognise the regiment as an extremely positive development for these islands.
Thank you very much for that, folks. Top of the hour, 8 o'clock news. When we return, the conversation with Governor Roper will continue, so don't change that dial. Please stay tuned for the record. We'll be back immediately after the 8 o'clock news.
Roast turkey or glazed ham?
Ooh, let's go turkey.
Okay, for sides I'm thinking whipped sweet potato, macaroni and cheese, and green bean casserole.
Perfect. And for dessert, should we go apple or pumpkin pie?
Pumpkin for sure. Thanksgiving dinner has seriously never been easier with these holiday dinners from Foster's.
Get your Thanksgiving holiday dinner and feed up to 8 people from just $79.99. Order online at fosters.ky. Foster's, better because we care.
The voice of the Cayman Islands.
89.9 FM in Grand Cayman and 93.9 FM in Cayman Brac and Little Cayman.
Silver wings shining in the sunlight.
Radio Cayman.
The 8 a.m. news is proudly sponsored by the Chamber of Commerce Pension Plan. For further information, please visit chamberpension.ky. The Cayman Islands Chamber of Commerce Pension Plan. We're here for you. Did you know that between May and August 31st, in support of the COVID-19 Emergency Withdrawal Program, the Chamber Pension Plan leveraged IT and human resources to successfully review over 16,000 member applications, approve over 12,000 applications, and paid over CI $130 million to our plan members. We are the Cayman Islands Chamber of Commerce Pension Plan, and we're here for you. For further information regarding the Emergency Withdrawal Program, visit chamberpension.ky. And for information as it happens, follow us on Facebook, LinkedIn, or Instagram. Email admin@pensions.ky or call 745-7630.
Your voice, your choice for today's biggest news.
Radio Cayman, the voice of the Cayman Islands.
With a look at Radio Cayman's 8 o'clock morning news, I'm Dion Anglin. The Chief Medical Officer, Dr. John Lee, reports that 202 COVID-19 tests have been carried out since the Wednesday report. One person, a traveler in isolation, tested positive. There are 16 active cases of COVID-19, 15 are asymptomatic, and one person with symptoms. The UK's Privy Council has formalised changes so the Legislative Assembly will officially become known as Parliament when it meets next month. CIGTV's Simon Boxall has more.
The transition is one of a number of changes formalised by the Privy Council. The LA sat for the last time in its current guise earlier this month. Legislators from both sides of the aisle praised the historic moment.
The renaming of the Legislative Assembly to the House of Parliament is yet another significant milestone in the history of these islands.
Cayman Islands will become the third British overseas territory with a parliament.
CIGTV's Simon Boxall. In other local news, member of the fundraising committee for the Cayman Islands Crisis Center, Kelly Verwey, is asking for the community support at the charity's upcoming gala.
So I would encourage him to come out because it will be an enjoyable night out for everyone that is going to join us, and it's in support of a cause that's unfortunate, but it is a cause that is needed on the island, and it will benefit a lot of people that would be grateful for the support. We wanted it to be kind of casual, so the theme is a reggae-style gala. It's being held at Papagalo's restaurant on Thursday, November the 19th. We're having cocktails from 7 and dinner at 8.
Tickets for the Get Up, Stand Up Against Domestic Violence Gala are $100 each. To purchase your tickets, email fundraising@cicc.ky, or you can call Kelly at 525-9137. Now for a look at news from around the region, here's Carib Update's Wendy Chateau.
The number of people tested positive for COVID-19 on the Sea Dream 1 cruise ship that is now back in Barbados has jumped from 1 to 6. The ship should have been docking in Grenada this Friday, but the call was cancelled after the outbreak on board. It had already been to St. Vincent, Canouan, the Tobago Cays and Union Island. This was the first cruise ship to resume sailing in the Caribbean. Sue Bryant, a cruise editor for the Sunday Times, who is currently on the ship, said in a phone interview with CNBC that the people who tested positive appear to be traveling in one group. The company said that all guests were tested twice prior to embarkation, but sources say people on board the ship were not required to wear masks until 2 days into the trip. The news of a cluster of infections aboard the cruise ship is a blow to the industry, which is among the hardest hit sectors of the global economy. Cruise travel has been brought largely to a standstill since March after some of the earliest COVID-19 outbreaks occurred on cruise ships, resulting in some deaths. The leader of Belize's People's United Party, John Bracino, was Thursday afternoon sworn in as the new Prime Minister of that Central American CARICOM member.
I, John Bracino, do swear that I will bear true faith and allegiance to Belize and will uphold the Constitution and the law.
The PUP secured a landslide victory with preliminary reports claiming 23 of the 31 seats following Wednesday's general elections. After his swearing in, Bracino said the work of rebuilding the nation begins immediately.
And now for a look at news elsewhere, here's the BBC.
BBC News with Danielle Yawowiecka. China has congratulated the United States President-elect Joe Biden on his election victory, despite Donald Trump refusing to accept defeat. It usually waits until the losing candidate concedes. China had been among a few countries, including Russia, which had not yet acknowledged Mr. Biden's victory. US federal officials charged with certifying the presidential election have comprehensively refuted President Trump's claims of fraud in the voting system. The pro-independence Polisario Front says a 3-decades-old ceasefire in Western Sahara has been ended by a Moroccan military operation in a buffer zone. A Polisario official said war had started. Morocco has said it intends to clear a highway in the region which has been blocked by Polisario supporters for weeks. Western Sahara has been the subject of a long-running dispute between the Moroccans and the indigenous people led by Polisario. BBC News.
That'll take us out of Radio Cayman's 8 o'clock morning news. I'm Dion Anglin.
The 8 a.m. news is proudly sponsored by the Chamber of Commerce Pension Plan. For further information, please visit chamberpension.ky. The Cayman Islands Chamber of Commerce Pension Plan. We're here for you. We are a not-for-profit, member-centric plan with a democratically elected volunteer board of trustees representing all sectors of the Cayman Islands economy. We have an all-in expense ratio of less than 1%, over 20,000 members, and $490 million in assets under management. We were the first multi-employer pension plan approved by the regulator in the late 1990s, and today we are still strong, secure, and are here for our employees and employers alike. If you would like to join or require further information, visit chamberpension.ky. And for information as it happens, follow us on Facebook, LinkedIn, or Instagram. Email admin@pensions.ky or call 745-7630. The Cayman Islands Chamber of Commerce Pension Plan. We're here for you.
Stay in touch with Radio Cayman for the latest in news and information.
Follow Radio Cayman on social media, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. Download the Radio Cayman app or log on to our website, www.radiocayman.gov.ky.
Radio Cayman, your voice, your choice, your radio. For additional weather information, visit www.weather.gov.ky. As well, stay in touch with Radio Cayman for the latest in news and information. Radio Cayman, your voice, your choice, your radio.
During these unprecedented times, Radio Cayman, the voice of the Cayman Islands, is pleased to bring you the Cayman Strong Series. The Cayman Strong Series is brought to you by OnCourse Cayman. Visit oncourse.ky to view a full list of wellness services and their qualified team. OnCourse Cayman, health, wellness, and happiness.
Change your thinking, change your life. Mastering the art of communication can open doors for you.
As Susie Kassem wrote in her book, Rise Up and Salute the Sun, we cannot control the way people interpret our ideas or thoughts, but we can control the words and tones we choose to convey them. Peace is built on understanding, and wars are built on misunderstandings. Never underestimate the power of a single word, and never recklessly throw around words. One wrong word or misinterpreted word can change the meaning of an entire sentence and start a war. And one right word or one kind word can grant you the heavens and open doors.
Change your thinking. Change your life.
Radio Cayman's Cayman Strong Series was brought to you by OnCourse Cayman. Visit oncourse.ky to view a full list of wellness services and their qualified team. OnCourse Cayman, health, wellness, and happiness.
These days, feelings of loneliness, anxiety, stress, and depression can be overwhelming. Just know you are not alone. OnCourse Cayman offers private mental health services for children, teens, adults, and groups. Visit oncourse.ky to view a full list of wellness services and their qualified team. OnCourse Cayman, health, wellness, and happiness.
The traffic report is brought to you by Subway. Planning a meeting, event, or office celebration? Visit subway.ky to place your catering order today.
It's the return of the Sub of the Day. Come into any Subway location and order the 6-inch Sub of the Day for only $3.50. Or get the full meal for just $6.
Wow, a meal in Cayman for only $6?
Yes, and it's never been easier to get your favorites from Subway. Just stop in, message WhatsApp at 929-4658, order online, or use Let's Eat or the Bento app. Check out their Facebook or Instagram for the latest store hours. Subway, eat fresh.
The traffic report is brought to you by Subway. Planning a meeting, event, or office celebration? Visit subway.ky to place your catering order today.
Digital is not a buzzword, it is a culture. At Digicel, we've made it our mission to enrich your digital lives. That's why we're bringing together more of all the experiences you love. The latest shows, the best of local and international music and radio, live sports, cloud storage, breaking news, HD video chats, and more. Welcome to Digital at Digicel, the Caribbean's fastest mobile network. Digicel, better together.
For the record, with ORRETT Connor.
Initiating system. For information that matter. For the record, with ORRETT Connor. Continues right now on Radio Cayman.
Good morning and welcome back to For the Record. In the studio with me this morning, the Governor of the Cayman Islands, His Excellency, Governor Martin Roper. He's going to be here with us until 9 o'clock this morning. So, folks, don't wait until 5 minutes to 9 to call in. Please don't. Sufficient time to call in before then. As a matter of fact, we do have a caller on hold. Caller, good morning. Welcome to For the Record.
Good morning, Mr. O.C.
Good morning, sir.
And morning to your guest, the Governor, Mr. Roper.
Good morning.
This is Tommy Borden, not ashamed to give my name on the radio.
Very nice to talk to you.
My voice by now as well. But anyway, I don't mean to throw I don't mean to upset your comments on the radio this morning. I've been listening keenly and enjoying your comments, and I do believe you're genuine in what you're saying about us or the country, the islands, whatever. I have no doubt about that, but I do still have the upset situation about the legislation that was enacted by you in our Constitution after it was refused by the majority of the Legislative Assembly. And I do feel that it's an issue that should have gone to a referendum, as I firmly believe the majority of people in the Cayman Islands are against what was done. And I don't mean to throw a red flag in anything this morning. I just thought I would take the opportunity to ask you if the case that is in the UK at the Privy Council to be tried, I think, in February, depending on the results of that, could that have any effect on the legislation that was you assented to, some couple of months ago or whatever it is now?
Well, thank you for the question, and I really respect your point of view, and I do understand that this issue was very difficult for a lot of people on our islands, and I do genuinely understand that. I've spoken to a lot of people about it. I would say there are a lot of other people who and many Caymanians as well who are very pleased with the decision, but I do recognise a lot of people are uncomfortable with it. I didn't want to be put in the position of being instructed by the UK to use Section 81, but we there really wasn't any choice for the UK because of the legal position and the clear declaration by the Court of Appeal that a legal framework needed to be provided. On a referendum, I think it is the case that this issue about human rights is a Bill of Rights issue. So it's not something that you can have a referendum on. This is a key part of our constitution, and it's designed that way to protect minorities, because you could find that that majority opinion would clearly work very much against minorities. So the Constitution is designed to not allow referendums on issues around Bill of Rights. So I don't think it's right to say there should have been a referendum, or there could have been a referendum on this issue. The Privy Council in February is considering a separate matter. It's considering the appeal against same-sex marriage. Now we obviously have to wait and see what happens in February at the Privy Council, but the fact that Cayman now has a framework in place for civil partnerships means that we meet the requirement, the international requirement in the European Convention on Human Rights to provide everybody with the right to family life, and we provide the rights for same-sex couples. So that will clearly be a factor in the Privy Council's deliberations, but we have to wait and see what the Privy Council decides on that. I think if we hadn't had a framework in place, I think the risk clearly increases significantly that the Privy Council would lay down same-sex marriage in the Cayman Islands, and I know that is even more difficult for many people than civil partnerships. So, and that was why, the UK, and obviously listening to my advice as well, recognised just how sensitive that was, which was why I was instructed to implement the law around civil partnerships and not go further and bring in same-sex marriage, as the Chief Justice had done at the very beginning of this about 18 months ago.
Okay.
Well, I think the civil rights, basic human rights, whatever, should also respect the majority. I can't agree with you that one or two people can upset a whole country, because I feel discriminated against as well by that going against the wishes of the majority of people. I'm sure it's the majority of people against it. So why should the Human Rights Committee or whatever accept that one or two people can upset a whole apple cart when the majority is totally against it? That's my gripe about this whole situation.
Yeah, no, I do understand that. I mean, I think the Bill of Rights in our Constitution is designed to protect the rights of everybody. I mean, you yourself may find yourself, on whatever reason, forever in a minority or having a minority position on something, but the Bill of Rights then protects you in that situation. So it's really about fairness, and it's about being able to treat everybody equally before the law, and that's what our Bill of Rights does. So everybody has the right to ensure that takes place in practice.
Okay, caller, I want to thank you very much for that. We do have other callers on hold. Next caller, good morning. Welcome to For the Record.
Good morning.
Good morning. How are you?
I just want to say good morning, Chris. No safer hands. Bye-bye.
Okay, take care. that was a short one.
That was quick.
Yeah. Governor, do have one question from one of our listeners, and it has to do with the constitutional changes. And they point out that while the this is not included in those constitutional changes that are coming about, and whether or not it was even approached, has to do with the governor's chairmanship of cabinet.
Yes.
And wondering whether or not, in your personal capacity, looking at the way that cabinet is run, looking at the way that the UK is still informed of in terms of what cabinet is considering, whether or not you deem it necessary for the governor to be presiding over cabinet.
I mean, that was one issue which was discussed at great length as part of the constitutional changes, and I think it's one of those issues which, for the UK, whilst overseas territories remain overseas territories, the UK feels that constitutional relationship does require governors to chair cabinet. But of course, here I absolutely recognise and respect that Cayman has autonomy for domestic affairs, for the full range of domestic affairs, and these constitutional changes make that clearer. So I don't think that the UK is going to sort of change that view. I mean, what you could say about the constitutional changes that we've agreed is that they go further. It's a good, positive package, giving Cayman even more autonomy for its own domestic affairs and making that clearer. But we're sort of at the limits of what can be done now. If the UK is going to be able to maintain the powers that it needs to meet its responsibilities to the overseas territories and contingent liabilities, so you know we have here now a very mature democracy with full domestic autonomy. But it's if you go further into the future, it's hard to see how you can remove more of the UK's sort of powers of oversight without bringing into question the whole basis of the relationship between the UK and an overseas territory. And
even though they do have it in Bermuda, where
they do, but Bermuda was it's a historical anomaly, because I think when Bermuda got its current constitution, it was because everybody believed Bermuda was about to go independent, and it was a sort of a step on the way to that. That then didn't happen, but I don't think the UK since then has been willing to go as far as it went with Bermuda in any of the other overseas territories. But you know, it's a good package, which is a further step on the road to even more autonomy in domestic affairs. But the UK has to retain certain powers to be able to meet its legal, political, and sort of constitutional obligations. And I mean, I understand that if cabinet is dealing with pretty much domestic issues, people will say, well, why does the governor chair it? And I personally, I have some sympathy with that view, but I think the UK feels that it's something which, for the UK's overall supervision and oversight of those territories, it wants governors to retain the chair of cabinet, of course, without a vote. I mean, the cabinet, the governor chairs the meetings, but it's very much the elected ministers that take the decisions on that. And if something cuts across one of the governor's special responsibilities, then that's a different matter, and I could seek instructions from the UK and delay things and have a further discussion. But the domestic agenda is very much handled and run by elected politicians, which is how it should be, because they're in the best place to take those decisions for their people.
Right. While we're on that, then the issue of you being able to assign additional responsibilities to ministers that may fall under your purview. And we heard some call for that when it came to the regiment bill as well. Is it an initiative that you would take, or would it be a situation where the ministers or the premier would come to you and say to you, well, I'd like this to be assigned to a minister? We know, for instance, that when prisons were the responsibility for prisons was handed over, I think Dr. Frank McFeel was the minister at that point in time, and he actually wanted it because it was, one of his areas of expertise. Can we see things like that still occurring?
Absolutely. I mean, I approach being governor very much in terms of a partnership, and I think I made the point earlier. I don't think it can work if the responsibilities are sort of separate. So because, again, the elected government quite rightly controls the budgets and decides on budget allocation. So in the governor's areas of responsibility, if the governor feels that something requires specific attention, requires funding, there has to be a discussion and you have to move forward in cooperation. I have a very, very strong working relationship with the Premier, built on trust and confidence, and I hope that continues with the next Premier, whoever that is. And I think it's so fundamental to how an overseas territory operates that there is that very strong, constructive, positive relationship. Doesn't happen everywhere. Hasn't always happened here in the past. But we have that now, and I think it's really important, because you can achieve things and you can do things. And if there's differences of view and if there's rancor and there's tension, then things just won't happen. Yes, yeah. So I'm very open to delegating those responsibilities if the right opportunity comes up, and it makes sense, because it can always be brought back as well. That's how the sort of constitution works. So yeah, I think those are discussions that we can definitely have.
Excellent. Let's take another caller, sir. Caller, good morning. Welcome to For the Record.
Yeah. Good morning, O.C.
Good morning, sir. How are you?
Good morning, Your Excellency.
Good morning.
I'm listening there a while ago when Mr. Tom was on regarding the whole thing with the domestic partnership bill. And let me just go on the record and say it really doesn't make any difference to me. I'm married Eve, not Steve. So I'm quite content with my with my being. But I'm quite taken back with the fact that some time ago the UK said they would not get involved in anything to do with same-sex marriage. But now, suddenly, with what has taken place, I must tell you, I have lost all faith and confidence in the UK, and I have no trust with them. I'll just set the record straight. I have no trust in them whatsoever, because suddenly it went from they were not involved, this was a domestic situation, and suddenly it was relegated to you as governor to implement this domestic partnership bill before it had to go to the Privy Council for them to go ahead and institute same-sex marriage. See, this is where the breakdown in trust goes. I mean, it's really, really no trust with the UK. I'm not afraid to tell you. I mean, I don't trust them, because if they're going to tell us 1 month that they're not getting involved, and then the next month they have you as governor instituting it in the islands, that's no trust. I'm just straight up. I don't hide and beat around the bush to say anything. I think that what has taken place is, as Mr. Thomas says, shameful. I mean, it is shameful to know that a handful of people can change the direction of a country within the skip of a heartbeat. I mean, and that's really what took place. I mean, you got 2 people come back here crying that they want to get married. Well, if you want to get married, tough. I don't have no problem. You want to get married, go somewhere where they accept that and get married there and come back and live your life in the way that you do it. I am just like I said, I am very, very discontent with the way that the UK has handled it, after telling us that it was a domestic affair, and then turning around and having you as governor do what you did. So I just want to I'll just leave it at that, and I'll listen to your response.
Okay, caller, thank you very much for that. We're going to take a commercial break. Please listen in, because the governor will give his response as soon as we return. Folks, please stay tuned. For the Record, we'll be back shortly.
Fidelity Bank would like to thank all essential workers. We salute your efforts and thank you for the sacrifices you've made to keep us all safe. During these challenging times we're facing, our top priority is the health and safety of the communities we serve. And while it's true that things are changing rapidly every day, one thing that will never change is our commitment to giving you the best and sound financial solutions to help you during and after the coronavirus pandemic. At Fidelity Bank, our focus will always be you. Fidelity, we're good for you.
Green Turtle, modern solutions to get you through the new normal. Download the Green Turtle app now and top up yours or a loved one's phone with any mobile carrier in any destination. Home delivery of laptops, tablets, phones, accessories, and iTunes and major online retailer gift cards. And now, home deliveries of groceries and courier service. Guaranteed delivery within 2 hours from 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. Visit their list of products at greenturtle.ky or download the Green Turtle app today. Green Turtle is not only the future of mobile, but today it can help save a life. Take a ride on the Green Turtle Express today. Download the Green Turtle app, the future of mobile, saving lives today.
No, man. My bills seem huge again, and I don't know what to do about it. I gotta look some help.
We can help. The Ministry of Commerce, Planning and Infrastructure has teamed up with CUC to give you the chance to win a home energy makeover worth up to $20,000. Not only will this lower your utility bills, it will increase your home's value. We are also giving away 8 home energy audits worth up to $1,900 each. Open to all homeowners in Grand Cayman. Entry is now open via www.energy.gov.ky/competition. Proudly sponsored by CEL Cooling, Mitsubishi, Phone Pros, Cooling Pros, and more. Use less, save more. Enter today.
Hi, I'm remodeling our bathroom. I have a few questions.
Sure.
What are some ideas to make my bathroom feel larger? How do I know if I'm picking the right vanity? How do I choose a new toilet or a new countertop? Also, the lighting is terrible. Can I put a window or a skylight? And do I really need an exhaust fan?
You've come to the right place. At Brand Source, we custom design kitchen and baths, and our talented design team can help answer your questions. Whether you're looking for a modern, functional family bathroom or a luxurious personal retreat, we'll help create that beautiful space that makes your home yours. And if you're in a rush for a new look and have a limited budget, our ready-to-install bathroom vanities, built with solid wood and countertops of the finest materials, are a quick and easy remodeling solution.
For the very best in custom-designed kitchens and baths, visit Brand Source Home Gallery on Dorsey Drive, Industrial Park, Cayman's Kitchen and Bath Center.
System 1 loaded. 1-800-534-8255. What is on your mind when it comes to the government, independence, and the opposition? Issues that matter to you. 1-800-534-8255. Waiting to hear from you. For the record.
This is For the Record with ORRETT Connor.
Good morning and welcome back to For the Record. In the studio with me, Governor Martin Roper. Governor,
yes,
your response to the last caller?
Yes, no, and thank you, caller, for those comments. I mean, I'm sorry you feel that way about the UK, and I don't think it's fair. And let me just try and explain why. I mean, and I would say that certainly between the current government, the Premier and UK ministers, that there is a very positive, productive and strong relationship, and there is a lot of trust at governmental level between the UK and Cayman. And on the sort of LGBT issue, the UK had said that it did not want to intervene in any of the overseas territories on this issue because it recognised it was very sensitive. But in Cayman's specific case, our hands were tied because of the legal case. There was a very clear declaration from the highest court of the Cayman Islands requiring the government of the Cayman Islands to implement civil partnerships legislation, because we were not complying with our own constitution's Bill of Rights. We were breaking the law, and that needed to be rectified. Sadly, the Legislative Assembly, it got very close, but it was unable to do that. So therefore, the UK's own legal obligations were not being met because the European Convention on Human Rights is a governor and UK responsibility, and we were not meeting our responsibilities under that convention. So that was why the UK instructed me to act. But the UK hasn't taken any action in any of the other overseas territories because there aren't similar court cases where individuals have taken cases to the courts demanding that their rights are respected, which they have every right to do. Our Bill of Rights protects the rights of everybody in our constitution. So I hope that provides a bit of context to your view, and I do believe you can have trust and confidence in the UK, and but this situation was developed in its own sort of specific way, which was why we ended up in the position that we did.
Mm-hmm. Okay, thank you very much for that, Governor. We have this one is fairly long, but we'll try to parse it out. Says, good morning, OC and His Excellency Governor Roper. Do you support the Cayman Islands being designated as a Blue Health destination? Dr. Matthew White of the United Kingdom's University of Exeter is leading a group of scientists who are conducting a study in 18 European countries researching Blue Health, which studies the benefits of one's physical and mental health that comes from spending time on or near the water. The Telegraph covered this on the 15th of August 2020. It explained that the healing power of water is a phenomenon now being labeled Blue Health, and is one that scientists are starting to examine in earnest. One of the biggest research projects is led by the European Center for Environment and Human Health, based at the University of Exeter. Goes on to talk about what it involves. He says, therefore, His Excellency Governor Roper, please answer the following questions, being with Cayman's successful suppression of the COVID-19, and now that marketing is being done by the Ministry of Tourism in winter places. For instance, a tourism commercial was on ABC television network yesterday in Michigan. In addition to the popularity of the Global Citizen Program featured in the media yesterday, please answer if you agree that the Cayman Islands is in an excellent position to pursue this acclaimed Blue Health destination designation that the world is just finding out about, which our ancestors always knew, the healing power of the sea.
Wow. Well, that's a fascinating question. I hadn't heard of the concept of sort of blue health, but of course everyone has known, I think, for a long time that, or believed that there are real health benefits from living by the sea and breathing in that wonderful.
We even bury our dead by the sea.
Well, that's right. And of course it works for me. I mean, I love to go jogging on the beach. I'm very fortunate to sort of live on the beach. I run along the beach every morning, and even though that's really good exercise, I think just being out in the nature, and it's so beautiful first thing in the morning, I do genuinely think that helps my well-being. So I think it's a very interesting question. Of course, as we build back better after COVID-19, and I know Cayman, lots of discussions about where it goes next in terms of the economy and diversifying, and the whole area of sort of sustainable tourism and focusing on environment and people coming to the islands because of we can show positive things about the environment. That's I think an area that Cayman could absolutely get into. The islands are spectacularly beautiful. We have some, I mean, the diving, the reefs. We have some wonderful places, that sort of mangroves as well. So this may be an area that developing sort of niche areas in tourism rather than the mass tourism is something that I'm sure lots of people will be looking at. But I encourage everyone to go by the water because it works for me.
Okay. Now, in mentioning the water and the beach, I know this doesn't fall under your specific constitutional responsibilities, but the whole issue of the prescriptive, the prescription law, access to the beach, we see Caymanians rightfully trying to reclaim that right. Some of those accesses not readily identifiable now. Some may have been blocked either purposely or otherwise. Do you have a view on that?
I mean, as you say, OC, it's not an area under my responsibility. I'm obviously following the discussions carefully. I know it's been a very controversial topic, and I understand why people want to absolutely make sure they have access to the beach. So I don't want to get into the details of that. I think that's for the sort of elected government to take forward. I mean, whilst we're on the subject of environment and climate change, I mean, again, and this is a devolved area, but the UK is chairing this big international gathering in Glasgow next December called COP26, which is when the world will have to come together and make bigger commitments to stop global warming. And I think this is really important for Cayman. So my office is working closely with the Premier and Minister Hugh, Minister Seymour, and officials on how the UK and Cayman can work more closely together on this, because I think the UK can help with some sort of technical assistance in a number of areas, in things like climate change, risk analysis and mapping. What will be the impact on Cayman in the next 5-10 years from all the data? Renewable energy is another area where I think the UK would be keen to support overseas territories. And of course, the fantastic things that are already happening in Cayman on reef restoration, the CCMI, the work that they do, fantastic work on Little Cayman to support and protect our reefs. So this is an area where I want my office to support and work with the elected government on a number of sort of discrete projects, because the world is at a tipping point on climate change, and I often hear people say it's very difficult to see how small islands can make a contribution to the overall impact. If there's going to be an impact, it's going to come from China and the US and other very sort of large countries. But I think Cayman has a real interest in the world succeeding in reducing global temperatures, because if we don't get a grip on this, it's going to affect Cayman. And so the UK has a real role, and we want the overseas territories to be part of the COP26 so that their voice is heard as well, and that the world really does galvanise and come together and take the action that's needed to protect our planet for future generations.
Okay, Governor, we have about a minute before we go to commercial break, and what I will just introduce this topic, and then hopefully we'll get an opportunity to discuss it after we return from the commercial break. And it has to do with the United Nations and the Decolonization Committee. And this person expressed the view that with the whole issue of Section 81 of the Constitution being used in the Cayman Islands, there were few more calls in terms of the Cayman Islands moving forward constitutionally. And there had been quite some discussion in relation to our position with the United Nations. And on one of my shows, Dr. Steve McFeel and I spoke about a resolution that was adopted by the UN General Assembly on December of 2019, and it had to do with the lack of participation of the Cayman Islands since I think it was 2010 in the work of the Decolonization Committee. And I know I personally said that maybe one of our members of Parliament, now members of Parliament, should bring a private member's motion asking the government to act through you to ask the United Kingdom government to invite the Decolonization Committee to return to the Cayman Islands to help in terms of educating the people of the Cayman Islands to the UN Charter, in particular Section 73E of the Charter as it relates to decolonization and the United Kingdom's role in that. So they're curious then, there's that curiosity out there to know whether or not that is possible. We know that in 2011, there was a meeting that was scheduled for the Cayman Islands, and then it was canceled. What are the possibilities of that happening again? How do we go about achieving that? Folks, please stay tuned. The conversation with Governor Roper will continue after this short commercial break.
It's time to buy smart. It's time to buy Ropers. Find everything for your home and kitchen at low prices at Ropers, your neighborhood store. Value, integrity. Ropers also offers complete janitorial service for commercial, industrial, and residential. They get the job done right every time. 122 Industrial Way, 949-2511, or email janitorial@ropers.ky. Clean up your spending with Ropers and stay prepared. 949-2511. Ropers, providing products and services for better public health.
What's that? No sugar, same amazing taste? Coca-Cola Zero Sugar is here to stay. Classic taste, pure satisfaction. Be sure to stop into any Tortuga location and get your own case of Coke Zero. Or grab an ice-cold one straight from the cooler. Brought to you by Tortuga Distributors Limited. Coca-Cola, taste the feeling, K-Man.
For the record, with ORRETT Connor.
Initiating system. For information that matters. For the record, with ORRETT Connor. Continues right now on Radio K-Man.
Good morning and welcome back to For the Record. We have about 12 minutes left with Governor Roper. He may stay a little bit longer if the calls keep coming in. So that means that, he's certainly open to talking with you. Most of you complain when you can't hear from officials within the government. The governor is here today, but don't wait until the last minute to call in. Caller, good morning. Welcome to For the Record.
Good morning, OC. Good morning, Your Excellency.
Good morning, sir.
Good morning.
First, the issue of public transport. I know that the civil servant is following His Excellency the Governor, and the Director of Public Transport is one of the people who the Governor, His Excellency, is responsible about. And really, we want today to file a complaint against this person, the Director of Public Transport, because he is not doing a good job in terms of controlling those bus drivers in Cayman. Unfortunately, we have a bad public bus system. The language those drivers use, the music they play, the way how they dress, and there is no power for the inspectors to take care of those public drivers. The whole system is not working. The district of East End, the district of North Side, people might catch a bus early morning, but in the 10 o'clock or 11 o'clock, you stand 2 hours there. In North Side especially, you can't find any bus coming to North Side. Those buses should come to North Side every 15 minutes or 30 minutes. They don't want to come to North Side.
Caller, I'm going to interrupt you for a second. Don't take all of your time explaining what is happening. If you have a particular point, because I believe you have more than one, if you have a particular question rather than detailing the specifics, that would be helpful and save time.
So the public bus system is very bad. Are you willing, Your Excellency, to call the Director of Public Transport to your office and ask him why he not doing thousands of complaints in the computer of the public transport complaints from the general public, and this Director of Public Transport, all the time I see him in the road going to this restaurant eating chicken or doing something and not reliable to his job, and he is not doing any good job in this country. If he is not capable to do his job, we ask you to change him to somebody else who can do the job.
Okay. We're going to have the governor respond.
Well, thank you, caller. I mean, that isn't an area that I lead on. It is a devolved matter. But in terms of appointments, the deputy governor is the head of the civil service, and I will certainly pass on your concerns to him. But I can't really comment on that topic in any more detail.
Okay, caller, I want to thank you very much for that. DJ Lynn, any calls on hold? None? Governor, can we go back now to that?
Okay. Can you remind me briefly, this was the one about the question of the
United
C-24
Nations
coming here?
Right, yes, sir.
I mean, I think that is, and I have been asked this question before. I think it is a matter for the government whether there is an invitation to the C-24 to come here. I mean, the UK doesn't accept the fundamental premise of the Committee of 24 that we should grant even more autonomy or independence to the overseas territories. I mean, the UK's view is that each overseas territory, if it wishes to be independent within its constitution, has the right to go down that road, but
but it doesn't necessarily have to be independent.
No, well, but the UK doesn't. The UK doesn't offer subscribe to the so there's free association models. That's not something that the UK has ever supported. Okay. So we have a constitutional relationship which provides the maximum self-government possible for our overseas territories, whilst ensuring the UK can retain the powers it needs to maintain its responsibilities. Now, if you want to go beyond that, you're really talking about independence, and the UK has a fundamental disagreement with the Committee of 24's approach because it argues that the UK is preventing the decolonisation of the overseas territory, which is not correct. It's a matter for the overseas territories, because the UK's view has always been self-determination. It's the self-determination of the peoples of the overseas territories which will determine their future, and the UK will respect that. So the UK doesn't have a very good opinion of the Committee of 24 and a lot of its work. We take part and we make our views known, but we disagree with much of it. And the other thing to bear in mind is that United Nations General Assembly resolutions are not binding. Yes. Security Council resolutions are binding. So there may be UN General Assembly resolutions, but member states have the right to say they disagree with a particular General Assembly resolution. So I think it's really up to the government here. If they wish to go down that route, they will initiate a discussion with me. I would speak to London. But as I said, the UK does not find it very productive in its discussions with the Committee of 24.
Mm-hmm. And I would slightly disagree with you to the extent that they certainly in 1977, which is a long time ago, found at that point in time, because they did allow a visiting mission to come to the Cayman Islands. Now, the reaction of the people of the Cayman Islands at that time was probably different than it would be now, but certainly the case. Can we move on to another point? When you were talking about COVID-19 and Cayman's ability to deal with it, you mentioned about our very positive financial position. Yeah. And I'd like you to explain to our listening and viewing audience the importance of having that positive financial position, and why were we able to have that positive financial position?
I mean, I think that's one of the real positives in Cayman's response to COVID, that the very good economic management over the last sort of 7 or 8 years has enabled Cayman to have a fiscal surplus. So it had a cushion coming into this crisis, and we're taking a very big economic hit now, but there was a financial cushion because the finances had been managed very well, and a key reason for that was because Cayman had to follow the framework for fiscal responsibility, which with the UK, so it had to agree when the debt was much higher many years ago. There had to be a plan for how to put that straight, and that's one of the requirements that the UK has for all overseas territories where the financial situation is difficult, because the UK wants the territories to have sustainable finance and be able to meet their own requirements. So I think the framework for fiscal responsibility helped as a basis for which economic policy had to take place. But of course, it was the decisions of the government here which led to the very comfortable sort of financial position going into this crisis, and the fact that Cayman's debt is extremely low, the fact that there was a large surplus, the fact that there was economic growth, that inflation was certainly under control, even if higher than what most people would like. But so the basic economic fundamentals were very impressive, and I know the UK greatly welcomes that, and has, in my discussions, is very aware, certainly compared to others in the region, that Cayman's situation is extremely favourable. So I think that's certainly helped manage the sort of the economic crisis that we're going through at the moment.
And looking forward, we have now put in place also the ability to access additional funding in the event that it is needed.
Yes, absolutely. I mean, but Cayman has a very proud record of never having gone to the UK for financial assistance. The UK does provide some technical assistance in many areas. I've mentioned the almost £1 million that we've provided for the Defence Regiment. I think over the last 2 years, across a wide range of areas, the UK has provided about £6 million in child safeguarding, law enforcement, prisons, mental health, a number of areas where we've been just supporting objectives that Cayman has. So there's been some technical assistance, but for budgetary support, Cayman has a very proud record of never having had to require assistance from the UK, which is not the case for many other overseas territories. So this line of credit that's been taken out is there if it is needed. But I know that I think the government is very keen to avoid having to draw that down if it can avoid doing so.
Yes.
And I do think that as the vaccine development really gathers pace, and we start to roll vaccines out on a global basis, and international travel can start sort of getting back to a bit more normality, I think the hope would be that Cayman may not have to draw down that line of credit, but it's there as an insurance policy if needed, and that's very prudent, very sensible financial and economic planning, and I think that's a real positive.
Okay, Governor, we're going to ask your indulgence because we're going to go to headline news. So we're going to ask your indulgence if you could stay until about 9:15, because I know one of the topics that we didn't have listed, but I'd like you to again reassure the public. We've seen what has happened in the United States in terms of elections and the COVID-19 situation. We still don't know, despite the expectations of success when it comes to a vaccine and everything else. We really don't know what 2021 is going to bring. And certainly we do have our elections in May of 2021 as well. And since elections do fall under your office, even though most of it is delegated to the Deputy Governor, what preparations are being put in place in relation to ensuring that we have uninterrupted electoral process, uninterrupted because of COVID-19 and certainly nothing else. So folks, please stay tuned. For the Record with Governor Roper. We'll be back shortly.
Community radio with a different appeal. The voice of the people. Security through adversity. Stuck on you. Radio for all time.
You're listening to Radio Cayman, the voice of the Cayman Islands.
Today's biggest news.
Radio Cayman.
It's only 2 species that we have here on the island.
Your voice, your choice.
It is in the best interest of the people of these islands.
Local, regional, international. This is Headlines from Radio Cayman's newsroom.
Today's biggest news.
Join the Cayman Islands Crisis Center for their reggae-style gala, Get Up, Stand Up Against Domestic Violence. The casual evening will be held at Papagayo's restaurant on Thursday, November 19th. Cocktails will be from 7 p.m. and dinner at 8 p.m. Tickets to the gala are $100 each, and to purchase your tickets, email fundraising@cicc.ky or call 525-9137. Good morning, I'm Dion Anglin with your headlines and news elsewhere. China has finally congratulated Joe Biden on his projected win in the United States presidential election, breaking a frosty period of silence. A foreign ministry spokesman said today, "We respect the choice of the American people. We extend congratulations to Mr. Biden and Ms. Harris. The China-U.S. relationship is crucial to both sides and the wider world. Tensions have soared in recent times over trade, espionage, and the pandemic." And the U.S. Commerce Department has halted a ban on TikTok that was due to come into effect on Thursday night. The order would have prevented the app from being downloaded in the United States. The Commerce Department delayed the ban pending further legal developments, citing a Philadelphia court ruling from September where 3 prominent TikTokers had argued the app should be allowed to operate in America. The decision will be a relief to the estimated 100 million U.S. TikTok users. That's a wrap of your headlines. I'm Dion Anglin.
For the latest in news and information,
follow Radio Cayman on social media, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. Download the Radio Cayman app or log on to our website, radiocayman.gov.ky.
your voice, your choice, your radio.
For the record, with ORRETT Connor.
Initiating system.
For information that matter. For the record, with ORRETT Connor. Continues right now on Radio Cayman.
Good morning and welcome back to For the Record. My pleasure to have in the studio with me for another 12 minutes or so, His Excellency Governor Roper. You heard me raise a question in relation to the possible effects of COVID-19 on our elections and what plans are in place to address that. Also, one of our listeners has written in and wanted to ask the governor whether there will continue to be weekly flights from the United Kingdom in December and January. They point out that the schedule now is only up until the 3rd of December. Governor?
Yeah. Okay, no, both very good questions. I mean, on the COVID, obviously very, very aware of the context for COVID and the elections next May. I know that Wesley Howell, our elections officer, he started full-time back in his role as the elections officer this week, and I have every confidence in him and his team that they will be working through these issues very, very carefully. Cayman has a very good reputation for organising very well run, free and fair elections, and I don't expect next May's to be any different. Of course, now we are COVID free pretty much, apart from a few returning travellers. So the important thing is that we keep that going, and then we won't have an issue with the elections. But I know that Wes and his team will be thinking through very carefully the contingency planning that is needed. But it's still some way off. But I think the key thing is to maintain the discipline that we've had up until now to keep the islands as COVID free as possible. On the British Airways situation, I do understand this is causing a lot of anxiety for people who want to plan in December and January. I know government has had very good and productive discussions with British Airways, and I'd understood that the decision has been reached to continue the flights in December and January. Dates are agreed, and I had been told that should be going up on the British Airways website today. So I hope that's happening very soon. But there will be. It's not a weekly flight, but I think there are at least 3 more flights in December, and then another 3 flights being organised for January. So I hope that those dates are publicly confirmed by British Airways very, very soon.
And just a point of clarification, because I did hear someone refer to it. I'm not sure in what venue it was, but certainly the fact that the Cayman Islands government is not financing these flights per se, or whether or not the Cayman Islands government is financing these flights, or these are just commercially viable flights that are happening?
There is what's called a risk-sharing agreement with British Airways, and that will apply until the end of January, the flights that have been agreed till the end of January, and possibly continue it. So when my office started this off at the very beginning, back in sort of April, May, when we established that first sort of air bridge between the UK and Cayman to help lots of foreign workers who needed to leave the islands. So because British Airways were arranging a flight because it was our national interest to have that flight, there had to be an arrangement whereby British Airways couldn't run the risk of losing money on that flight. Otherwise, why would they organise it? So the Cayman Islands government undertook to meet any loss that British Airways had, but so far we've made quite a healthy profit on these flights because we're able to fill the planes also with lots of freight, so they fill with food and goods that come to the supermarkets, and we've had hundreds of people on each aircraft in both directions. So this has not cost the Cayman Islands government a penny, in actual fact, and earlier on it was actually creating a surplus. Now the arrangement is that BA will retain the sort of profits that are made from the flights, and if there is a loss, the Cayman Islands would come in and meet that shortfall, because we require this flight to help people come backwards and forwards, particularly many Caymanian students who want to come home from universities and schools in the UK. But it's very clear that there is no question of these flights making a loss, because the business is there, and I think the freight covers a huge amount of that. So there's little to no risk to the Cayman Islands over these flights in terms of the costs of them. Okay.
And if we could quickly go back to MLA Kenneth Bryan's point in relation to this bill. We have done some research on it, and it appears as if that was a bill that was presented to the UK Prime Minister earlier this year, but there is no evidence anywhere of that being resurrected or put in place at this point in time. Nothing current.
No, there's absolutely nothing current. I'm not quite sure why this issue is coming up now. I think this is an issue, as you say, which has been around for a while, but there doesn't seem to be any support for this, and it's certainly not happening. I did sort of quickly get in touch with my colleagues in London just to sort of check, and they confirmed what you just said. This refers to something which was around many months ago. And this is, I can confirm categorically that this is not something that the UK government is proposing or will propose, because it raises all sorts of difficult legal, constitutional and political issues. So not quite sure why that's come up today, frankly.
Okay. Governor, I'd like to give you an opportunity to review what we have spoken about so far, anything that you feel that you may have missed out, and an opportunity also for some closing comments.
Just to say again that, Lizzie and I are really enjoying being here on the islands. That first 2 years has gone incredibly quickly. I don't think anyone would have predicted the 2 years that we've had. I say again, I think the relationship with the UK is very constructive, very productive. I think my relationship with the Premier is excellent, and with cabinet ministers. I think relationships with opposition members has been under perhaps a little bit of strain in recent months because of developments around Section 81 and perhaps even the defence bill. So my hope going into next year is that we can put that relationship as well on a much more friendly and productive basis, which it certainly was for the vast majority of my time here. I had many meetings with the Leader of the Opposition and his colleagues, and I hope we can restart those in the near future. Okay. But thank you again for having me on the show. It's always interesting to hear the questions and comments from listeners. They range quite widely, but I will continue to try and to be very accessible and very happy to hear people's points of view.
Okay. And in the past we have seen governors, more so administrators, when they're leaving or even before they leave, point out to members of our Legislative Assembly or leaders, some of their views in terms of what they should be done. We know, for instance, that administrators encouraged members of the Legislative Assembly, because there were constitutional provisions for a speaker to be elected from amongst them, encouraged them to do that because some governors were not comfortable being in the role of president of the Legislative Assembly and at the same time being governor.
Yeah.
And certainly encourage that. At some, you may not choose to do so now, but whenever you're leaving, would you take that opportunity, on a personal level to say to legislators, to say to the people of the Cayman Islands what you feel in terms of the future of these islands and some of the important issues that we should be addressing?
Well, I'm certainly not planning to leave just yet.
I'm not saying goodbye. I'm not saying goodbye.
Unless you know something I don't. I'm not planning
certainly
to leave just yet. But no, of course, I think it's right that maybe some sort of valedictory remarks and impressions. But I certainly not at that stage at present. But I have a very open and frank dialogue with people in private, and I think that's the way it should be. As I said, I do think partnership is the way forward, and this is the way it has to be. You need to have strong, productive relationships between the governor and the elected ministers. I think we've shown that very powerfully during COVID, and we've worked very closely together, particularly in the beginning when the crisis was unfolding, and we did all those press conferences. And I think the fact that the governor, the premier, the health minister, the chief medical officer were all united in giving a reassuring and calm message to everyone as we went through a quite unprecedented situation. I think that had a big impact, and it's certainly the way I will continue to work as governor, in strong partnership with the elected government. But of course, in private, there are sometimes frank discussions about things which are best done privately and not aired publicly, and that's the sign of a mature and constructive relationship.
Yes. Well, Governor, I've checked all of my phones and everything to make sure that we haven't missed any comments or questions that our listeners have sent in. So again, I want to thank you very much. Say to you, have a great weekend and all the best to your lovely wife as well.
Thank you very much.
Folks, we're going to take a commercial break. When we return, the phone lines will still remain open, but Governor Roper will not be here. He departs us now. Please stay tuned. For the record, we'll be back shortly.
For the record, with ORRETT Connor.
Initiating system.
For information that matters. For the record, with ORRETT Connor. Continues right now on Radio Cayman.
What's that? No sugar, same amazing taste? Coca-Cola Zero Sugar is here to stay.
No one can stop me when I taste the beer.
Classic taste, pure satisfaction. Be sure to stop into any Tortuga location and get your own case of Coke Zero. Or grab an ice cold one straight from the cooler. Brought to you by Tortuga Distributors Limited. Coca-Cola, taste the feeling, Cayman.
JN Money Card. When my land up a JN, me get the money card with them. Just show them your ID and give them your TRN. Go and use at the ATM or swipe instead then. And when you need more cash, and make your family send it in a flash. From abroad to card, get the JN Money Card. It's safe, convenient, and free.
JN Money Card only available and used in Jamaica. Call 345-945-2014 for details.
Green Turtle, modern solutions to get you through the new normal. Download the Green Turtle app now and top up yours or a loved one's phone with any mobile carrier in any destination. Home delivery of laptops, tablets, phones, accessories, and iTunes and major online retailer gift cards. And now, home deliveries of groceries and courier service. Guaranteed delivery within 2 hours from 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. Visit their list of products at greenturtle.ky or download the Green Turtle app today. Green Turtle is not only the future of mobile, but today it can help save a life. Take a ride on the Green Turtle Express today. Download the Green Turtle app. The future of mobile, saving lives today.
Stronger, wider,
higher, lighter. The all-new Ford Ranger Raptor. Powerfully built with a 2.0 diesel Panther engine and 210 horsepower. Modern with leather interior and 8-inch touchscreen, Sync 3 technology and power features. Tough. Built to handle the off-road with 4-wheel drive, terrain modes, and a 10-speed automatic transmission. Coming early October to Vamped Motors, Walkers Road. To find out more and to test drive the bold new Ford Ranger Raptor, visit Vamped Motors, Walkers Road, or call 949-8288.
Miracle Brokers International, your worldwide movers and freight forwarders, continues to work hard to improve their expertise to provide you with the first-class service you have come to expect. Now, together with Consolidated Freight Line, CFL, the specialist in logistical and global cargo solutions, customers can rely on an expanded team of moving professionals that gets the job done in a timely manner. Whether it's your prized possessions, full container loads, less than container loads, ro-ro cargo, or construction equipment, from door to port services, or across the oceans, from destinations such as the US, Canada, Asia, the Caribbean, Central and South America, among others. Miracle Brokers and CFL combined networks offers hundreds of expert connections that take the stress out of moving and shipping services. Call today for your free estimate, 949-5989. You can also log on to www.miraclebrokers.com. Miracle Brokers is located at the end of Kingbird Road, just past CUC. Miracle Brokers, the art of packing and moving, 949-5989.
For the record, with ORRETT Connor.
Initiating system. For information that matters. For the record, with ORRETT Connor. Continues right now on Radio Cayman.
Good morning and welcome back to For the Record. Again, want to thank Governor Martin Roper for being on the show and sharing his viewpoints with us. We do have a caller. Caller, good morning. Welcome to For the Record.
Good morning, Mr. For the Record.
Hey, morning, Doc. How are you?
Fine, I'm good. I'm fine. I'm good. Well, you now have heard it from the horse's mouth.
Right.
You have heard it from the horse's mouth. The UK does not abide by those resolutions in relation to the overseas countries and territories, colonial countries. They ignore them. They say they have no binding effect on them.
Yep.
And so they are not interested in any association with us at all, like the Dutch and the French territories have done with their own people. They're not interested in that. It's either independence or nothing. And this is what Dana Warren and all of those people have been talking about for such a long time. Such a long time. And now that now, if you ever ask me back to your show, I am not going to mention that because that is not feasible. They have told you they're not interested in you becoming associated with them.
But you shouldn't use that word if there, Doc. You know you're going to be back here.
You see, they're not going to. They don't want that. They don't want you. They want to keep you at arm's length. They want to keep you at arm's length. They're not interested in that.
Yep, and hence, and Doc, if I may interrupt you, that is why we saw in 2011 the abrupt roundabout in terms of the committee visiting the Cayman Islands.
Exactly, and especially now he says, it's left to the local government, but they were instructed from the UK, nevertheless, that they don't bring these people here. Yeah. Because we are not going to listen to anything they say. He just said so. The United Kingdom does not even admit and recognize their resolutions. That other countries recognize their resolutions and so forth and so forth. So what we have to do now is to start preparing ourselves to go our own way. That's what we have to start doing now, preparing ourselves to go our own way. I don't know if there are enough people in Cayman who thinks that way, because some of them some of them don't think, and some of them are wishy-washy thinkers. But that is what we have to start preparing our people now to go around because he has said it. He's the government spokesman. He's Her Majesty's spokesman here, and he has said it. He has said it, and he has made no excuses for it. He has said it in explicit terms. They're not interested in those other two places that you can go before you even talk about independence. He's not interested in those. Okay.
Yep.
So I hope that people understand that.
But you know what is concerning, you know, with that, Doc, is the fact that the United Kingdom played a big part in the formation of the United Nations and the inclusion of Section 73.
In 1946, the people who were running the United Kingdom were different kind of people. They were different kind of people, and they were under strain at that time. They had just come out of the war. They would have listened to anything to get back on their feet, and it helped them then.
Mm-hmm.
It helped them. It helped them to agree to the American program. It was an American program, you know.
Yes.
They to agree to the American program with this UN thing to prevent more wars. But after they got on their feet and stuff and things like that, they're not interested now. They're not interested in you or me to be in no association with them. They're not interested in that. And so we should go our own way. The times have changed. The times have changed.
But what about that private member's motion that we suggested in terms of asking or the government through the governor to ask the United Kingdom, the administering power, to request the members of the C-24 to come to the Cayman Islands? I believe that would really show their hand if we were to go through that process, and if it was to reach to the point where the governor makes that request from the UK and see what the UK then says about it.
Well, he's already said it's up to the local to the local people. So what we should do, we should invite them ourselves to come here and see what the UK do. We shouldn't do the roundabout way. We should the next time they want to have a meeting here, we should say yes, and we should do everything to invite them here. And that the UK said no. I don't think it should go the other way.
But the process
I know the
that is established. Yes,
process has to come through the diplomatic channel.
Yeah,
it has to come through the diplomatic route. But I would go ahead and do it anyway.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's my business. It's my interest. You understand?
Yeah. No, I got you. I got you. Yes. Yeah.
So I would do that.
Definitely.
If I was the leader of the country, I would do that. And see what they tell me. See?
Yeah.
And it tells me now that we have to have a closer association with our brothers and sisters around the Caribbean. Those are the people, because we are going to be left here alone by ourselves. If something really happened to us.
Yeah. What will also be interesting, Doc, is to see what constitutional changes the Bermuda will request, because we have always spoken about, not only us but everyone, the Bermuda's advanced constitution, which is one step away from independence. But we see where the UK has now requested that the Bermudan government, I guess between the two, that they have discussions, seek some constitutional changes. Now, some of the pundits in Bermuda feel that it has to do more with entrusting more foreign affairs to the Bermudan government in terms of dealing with international bodies because of the financial situation.
Yeah.
And of course, Bermuda finds itself in a very unique financial position where I believe that their deficit is somewhere in the region of at least $2 billion at this point in time. So maybe that could be the reason for that, to say, well, let us try to get you to extricate yourselves from the financial dilemma that you find yourself in.
Oh yes. If it comes to paying anything, they're not going to be in any paying position. They want to go. And remember for you, for your listeners, when the Bermuda got that constitution, the Bermuda was a white government.
Yes.
There was a white majority, and so the British gave that to protect them from the black minority and from any eventual push upwards from the black people. That has changed now. And the Bermuda people now, the black people are now in charge of the country, and so now the British feels now that perhaps their presence there is no longer needed, but except for regulating, like you said, when the debts and so forth, and they do not want to have any responsibility in that respect. So they probably handed that over to the Bermuda people.
Yeah. Very interesting, to see that point. Anything else, Doc? Anything else?
No, very interesting. We got a lot to talk about when we meet again. Very interesting. Yes. I didn't know that I would hear that in my lifetime from them. I've thought we suspected that, and then Warren and all those people say that's what they were told, but no, I heard it directly from their representative here. They're not interested in that. They said either you go or you stay, being a colony, or you go.
Yeah. Yes, very interesting. Well, Doc, I want to say to you, stay safe. Have a great weekend. You got in all of your nominations and everything for today's the tomorrow. Tomorrow is the last day for nominations to be sent in relation to National Heroes Day as well.
I haven't gotten all of mine in yet. No, I'll do it today.
Yeah. Make sure you get that. Get all of those in. Tomorrow's the deadline.
So where did you drop the forms?
They can be dropped off at the government administration building.
Okay.
They can be dropped off there.
Okay. All right. Okay.
And if it's done online, of course you can do it online, and then this way you don't have to worry about the hard copies at all.
Okay, all right, okay.
All right, Doc, you take care.
You too, take care.
Okay. We do have another caller. Caller, good morning. Welcome to For the Record.
Good morning to you, Mr. O.C.
Morning, sir. How are you?
Just fine, thank you. Sorry His Excellency has gone now, but I understand he had more or less a limited time, and quite a time here to call him.
Yeah, we did point out that it was good. From the time the show started, that he would be here until 9 o'clock.
Yeah, and he did stay after. Yeah. I just a quick aside is this, that many times when His Excellency's on the radio, just come on several times, even when you thought that he'd be kind of reticent to come on because of feelings and people getting up and not really understanding, and you can hear it from calls coming into him. That is not really his response. He's trying to let us know we must take more responsibility for things. You're asking him about bus drivers. I mean, one person did and all that. And that's very important to us, the people. So us, the people who elected a political arm to take care of things like that, that's who we should be asking those questions to, and then try to get a response from them. And the Deputy Governor, of course, is in charge of the civil service. He wants to know that he shouldn't be trying to take away Mr. Manderson's job or making his position smaller by trying to answer questions for him. And we should show the sort of juvenile attitude in us when I listen to people talking. We often talk this thing about, as I said, I don't understand why people thought there was any in-between way. I've never thought so. I've never, ever thought that there was anything in between either the colonial status or independence. I personally have never, so I don't need anyone to try to tell me that they now know. You know, and I'm pretty sure Dr. McPhee, a very smart gentleman, shooting these things, maybe we too thought that was the way. I've always thought so, and always when I see us, I'll show you how we are divided. When they try to move forward, Mr. Miller and the Premier and the Deputy Leader of the Opposition went up there and did try and get some advancement on our country, because I've heard everyone, including Mr. McPhee, saying we should try to push the envelope. I've always said so. We should try to move at all times, if it's every 3-4 months or whatever. So I asked for a longer period of 5-year term to get more for ourselves out of the Constitution, the administrative relationship with Great Britain. And they have never been averse to us trying to get more and more and more to a certain point. And this we know. And we have to be adult about this thing. That is the situation. We should also, as I've said, and I know many times you and I kind of look at things differently with this. But when I say it from looking at experience. We know with this collaboration with the other Caribbean, whose idea was that? It was Great Britain's, that we get together and form what? A federation.
Federation, yes.
Do you remember what happened to that?
Yes.
That's one of the things that made Jamaica go independent. That is what it was. When they got out of it, seeing a totally unreasonable situation it was for them, and the people didn't want be in it anymore. And that was what their decision was, because they never had a referendum to go independent. They had a referendum to get out of the federation. And what we're talking about here is getting together. Again, I'm sorry. This is my humble opinion. It might be the opinion of one Caymanian and only me. But I think this smells of federation. Our thing is to do what we're doing. We've always been doing it. We have managed to do things well. We need to distribute the wealth more evenly. Any other of the thousands of half-idiots like myself here can see that. It's not being... Bermuda, we're talking about, they own businesses here. We see where there's insurance companies that are owned here by in Bermuda, the head office, and so forth. And
More
so
than
on.
that, look at the big Elizabethan Square. That's owned by... I think it's a Bermudan company that owns Elizabethan Square years and years ago.
Give me some more information. What I'm saying is this. I lost my train of thought right here. But our minimum wage, which is private, and we can't blame the government. The Chamber of Commerce is the one who agreed on that, which controls 80% of the working population here. They said $6 an hour, and one past president, I won't call names, one past president reset, they said $5.50. Bermuda's minimum wage, which is a simple thing to understand. It has nothing to do with across the board and all that nonsense people are talking about. Who levels out wages for people are the unions in countries. That's who gets the carpenter's wage set, the plumber's wage set, and the mason's wage set, so on and so forth, bus drivers or whatever. It's union. Now, theirs is $12.50 US an hour. We know that.
Caller, I'm going to interrupt you for a second because we have gone past my commercial break. If you want to talk a little bit longer, I'm going to ask you to hold on. Let us take the commercial, and then we return, because there's something that I want to discuss. There's something I want to discuss in relation to what the governor said. And he spoke about the resolutions of the United Nations that they're not binding. But while the resolutions are not binding, there may be other things within the United Nations Charter that are binding as well. So, folks, we're going to take a commercial break. When we return, we will continue our discussion with the caller on hold.
The New Self-Help Community Foundation presents the 19th Annual Talent Exposition of the Arts with their first ever virtual concert. Get your tickets now at eventpro.ky. Streaming live on December 13th. You don't want to miss this. With performances by Erica Asai, Caitlin Tyson, Miss Universe 2018, Rico Rolando, Terry Williams, UCCI dancers, Lloyd Barker, Rita Estevanovich, Dream Chasers K-Man, Mariah Padua, Shantae Ramoon, Duncan Anderson, K-Man Music School, Soraya Anglin, Centerpoint Dance Company, Richie T, JC Patrick, Miss World K-Man, and more. The Talent Exposition of the Arts, first ever virtual concert, broadcasting live December 13th. Get your tickets today at eventpro.ky.
Come out to the South Coast Bar and Grill and Breakers this Friday, November 13th, as we celebrate Lambert Seymour Labby, celebrating his 52nd year in the Cayman music industry. There will be live entertainment by Rexy and the Impulse Band, along with guest artists celebrating Lammy's 52nd year in the music industry. Music starts at 9 p.m. and goes until 2 a.m. Admission is by donation at the door. Dance the night away to soca, calypso, merengue, and country music with live entertainment by Rexy and the Impulse Band at South Coast Bar and Grill this Friday night.
Hi, I'm remodeling our bathroom. I have a few questions.
Sure.
What are some ideas to make my bathroom feel larger? How do I know if I'm picking the right vanity? How do I choose a new toilet or a new countertop? Also, the lighting is terrible. Can I put a window or a skylight? And do I really need an exhaust fan?
You've come to the right place. At Brand Source, we custom design kitchen and baths, and our talented design team can help answer your questions. Whether you're looking for a modern, functional family bathroom or a luxurious personal retreat, we'll help create that beautiful space that makes your home yours. And if you're in a rush for a new look and have a limited budget, our ready-to-install bathroom vanities, built with solid wood and countertops of the finest materials, are a quick and easy remodeling solution.
For the very best in custom-designed kitchens and baths, visit Brand Source Home Gallery on Dorsey Drive, Industrial Park, Cayman's Kitchen and Bath Center.
Do you remember when 2020 was great?
I don't think it was...
2020 vision, not the year.
Right.
Make 2020 great again with Optical Outlook, the new West Bay store now open. With their designer frames and sunglasses, eye health has never looked so good. Call 746-2020 and book your eye exam today at Caymanian Village and now at Jake Scott Plaza in West Bay, offering premier eye care in Cayman for over 30 years. Come see the difference with Optical Outlook.
No, man. My bills seem huge again, and I don't know what to do about it. I gotta look some help.
We can help. The Ministry of Commerce, Planning and Infrastructure has teamed up with CUC to give you the chance to win a home energy makeover worth up to $20,000. Not only will this lower your utility bills, it will increase your home's value. We are also giving away 8 home energy audits worth up to $1,900 each. Open to all homeowners in Grand Cayman. Entry is now open via www.energy.gov.ky/competition. Proudly sponsored by CEL Cooling, Mitsubishi, Phone Pros, Cooling Pros, and more. Use less, save more. Enter today.
For the record, with ORRETT Connor.
Initiating system.
For information that matters. For the record, with ORRETT Connor. Continues right now on Radio Cayman.
Good morning and welcome back to For the Record. No guests in the studio. We do have a caller on hold, but before we go to that caller, we want to say that happy birthday greetings to Sean Ebanks from his parents and his siblings. And the person has also pointed out that today is also Dr. Tomlinson's birthday. So we want to wish a happy birthday to Dr. Tomlinson as well. Dr. Tomlinson and Mr. Sean Ebanks. Happy birthday to both of you. Caller, go right ahead.
Yeah, happy birthday to both of them also. Yes. Yes, I'm a student for Dr. Tomlinson, I believe. Yes. I won't say what it is. I'm sure you know.
Yes.
Quickly, I'll just say what I was going to say about the moving forward with the Constitution. When they came back, they had got some commitments and they had got some movement. But what happened? When they went into the House, it seemed as if the very members in the House were saying that shouldn't have been done that way, should have been a referendum or whatever. And people out on the street, we hear talk show who was saying that how can two people do this and that. Do you see what I'm saying when I say divided? We don't even know. We're saying we want to be more autonomous, and when our very own people who we elect try to get us more autonomy, we cry them down and say they shouldn't have done that. So how do you expect for people now to try to even get a grasp on what it means to go into political independence? We don't go around and talk to people about it and sit and talk with them. We could go ahead and do what, and that was my idea. If we want to prove something, what Bermuda did. There's nothing stopping us, I think, from holding a referendum to see what the people think, go independent or not. If we could go around and talk to them for 6 months, and then we could hold it. I don't think Great Britain can stop us from holding that independent.
No,
referendum.
once we reach the constitutional threshold as far as the signatures are concerned, and maybe that is something to do just to put things to bed. You know, we will get a feel of where the people of the Cayman Islands are in relation to it and put it to bed once and for all.
And I'm interested to see what the United Nations is going to try and do about Ethiopia. They don't seem to be able to handle or get a grasp on anything happening in Africa. And that's some bad things, and it's a powerful, huge continent with some of the world's probably largest amount of resources in any place and fraction. It's just a warring. But you're talking something about the binding qualities of it, of the UN net charters. Maybe there are other things that are binding that we're not being told of. Is that what you're saying, Mr. Woolsey?
Can you repeat that? Sorry, sir.
No, you were saying something about other things may be binding, but the one on 2024.
Oh, yes, yeah. Well, what the governor said is that the resolutions adopted by the, I believe, I hope I get this right, by the special committee are not necessarily right binding. Only the Security
Committee
Council. But at the same time, this was when we look at the particular document, the resolution. At the end of it, it says that the general. This is the General Assembly requesting that the special committee continue to examine the question of the Cayman Islands and to report thereon to the General Assembly at its 75th session and on the implementation of the present resolution. So there is accountability there as far as the United Nations General Assembly is concerned. Now these resolutions, they're almost, you look at them almost the way that we look at our private members' motions that are brought in our legislative assembly. If the minister decide or the government decides not to do anything with them, then nothing gets done. But I'm doing some research here to determine, whether or not a resolution like this, what binding effect does it have? So I can't say, at this point in time, I can't say. Yeah.
What? Of course, we can go ahead, I believe, and try to talk with them and let's see if they'll come out. But a point I'd like to make with that, and then I'll get off on some people, other person can get on and try to crucify what I'm saying, or said me. But why do we need them to do that? Can't we go around in meetings with people like Dr. Steve or others and talk to people, hold meetings to them about what are the consequences of independence, political independence for us, what we would be doing, how we prepare ourselves, and so forth, and so on, and talk to the people sort of in depth and explain to them. Because right now, as I've said this before, and I'll continue to say it, a lot of us don't seem to understand even what we are under now as a British crown colony, crown territory, whatever you want to call it, because the passport says we're the property of the crown. That's what it says. The passport tells you who you belong to, and that's what it says. At all times, this passport remains the property of the crown at all times. That's what it says. Anyhow, what I'm saying is, we don't really know what we are. No, we keep talking. Sometimes I hear people talking, well, yes, the governor, this and that, and then the next one they get up and talk as if we are independent, and we're not. And this is where the confusion lies with people. I believe a lot of people are confusing the two things. They think we're somewhere in between. They think we're sometimes independent, sometimes not. Some people, when I speak to them, and that's why I don't like to hold any conversation about that any longer. And let's just do as we're doing here, and that's it, and continue on. But like I said with Bermuda, their minimum wage, when we talk about debt, what is that? Sometimes it's irrelevant. It's just money. But that sounds stupid. But you really think about it. Their money is all over the place. Their minimum wage is $12.50 US an hour, which is 10 CI dollars.
Yes.
You look at it, because they're on par with the US. They've gone on par long time ago.
Yeah,
Thank you so much, sir.
Okay.
Thank you
very much. No, I was going to say something in relation to
go ahead.
what we haven't done is that we haven't challenged the UK's position in relation to the Decolonization Committee and its applicability to the Cayman Islands. And those are the things that we need to go to the next level and challenge that. And like I said before, one way to know, we know now what the UK's position is on it, but one way for us to get them to show their true colors would be a formal request to have the Decolonization Committee come to the Cayman Islands.
Yeah, maybe that's a good idea.
Those whole issues of free association, they are embedded in the Charter of the United Nations. They are not in the Charter of the Decolonization Committee, or they're in the Charter of the United Nations, so it has to mean something. Now, on the question of whether or not General Assembly resolutions are binding is one that is still really up for question, and legal scholars differ, in relation to, to that. We'll see basically how that goes.
Mr. Rossi, I'll get off here now, so I just ask you something, and I think it's important because I don't understand. I know there are a lot of people like myself who are just half idiots. So what does free association mean? And if you could give a little explanation of that, I'll hang up and I'll be listening to you quite closely, sir. Thank you so very much for giving me this chance. Thank you for having His Excellency on.
Okay, thank you very much.
Wonderful day I listen on.
Caller, thank you very much for that as well. I believe Mr. Bill Adam and Mr. Dana Warren probably a little bit better informed in relation to that question, but I'll try to see what I can do with it. But on the issue of the General Assembly resolutions, they say the General Assembly, although General Assembly resolutions are generally non-binding towards member states, internal resolutions may be binding on the operation of the General Assembly. So General Assembly resolutions are not necessarily binding, but the same way, I'm going to take words and turn them on their head now. The same way that a declaration made by a court of law, right, or final court in the Cayman Islands, the Court of Appeals, and the UK found it necessary to act based on that declaration that was made. So we have to follow the rule of law. When a resolution is made in the General Assembly of the United Nations in relation to Cayman's continued participation with the Decolonization Committee, the UK's obligation to continue to report to the United Nations, isn't that a part of the rule of law as well? You can decide that you're going to ignore resolutions of the United Nations because you don't necessarily recognize their legitimacy or whatever. But at the same time, on other issues, now it may not be comparing apples to apples, but at the same time, the rule of law, should prevail. What larger organization do we have in the world than the United Nations. One that was designed to ensure that the atrocities of war would no longer continue, to eliminate the possibility of war. What larger organization do we have than that? And when it comes to a little 2x4 country like the Cayman Islands, and the responsibility for reporting, the responsibility for educating the people of the Cayman Islands to particular sections of the United Nations Charter that is accepted by the United Kingdom. What difference is there? What is the big deal about that? I still say that we need to request them to be here. But this is something that we cannot just accept lying down. We can't just take it for the United Kingdom government saying we don't recognize it. And yes, the governor did say that it's up to the people of the Cayman Islands to do whatever to make that request. And maybe we should. We will continue to advocate that we do that, as well. Trying to see what I can find on free association. Shouldn't have that radio silence going, so you know what? We'll do that. We'll do that on another date if I can't find anything on it, and share with you what do we have. We got a November of 1966. What happened in the Cayman Islands, November the 3rd, 1966? We had a bill that was being brought forward to impose income tax in the Cayman Islands. That was voted down by the legislature in the Cayman Islands on the 18th of November 1965, just after an election. The headlines in the Tradewinds newspaper read, "Decisive anti-self-government vote." So you heard us government talk about the autonomy that the Cayman Islands our officials have in certain areas that are of responsibility for them. So in 1965, there was a decisive anti-self-government vote in the Cayman Islands, and that anti-self-government vote resulted in the election of Captain Eldon Cockernal for Georgetown with 295 votes. Mr. Berkeley Bush of Georgetown, 252 votes. Miss Anna Hulda Borden of Georgetown with 251 or 50 votes, I believe. Mr. Benson Ebanks of West Bay, 369 votes. Mr. T.W. Farrington of West Bay, 359 votes. Mr. Spurgeon Ebanks of West Bay, 342 votes. Mr. Anton Borden of Bordentown, 217 votes. Mr. Richard Arch of Bordentown, 199 votes. Mr. Warren Connolly of East End, 106 votes as well. And I believe that is a year when some others went in unopposed. I believe Mr. Cradock Ebanks in Northside and possibly Mr. Burns Ruddy in Cayman Brac as well. But those things occurred in 1965 in the Cayman Islands. And there was a vote against income tax. A year later, they didn't want income tax to be imposed in the Cayman Islands. What else? November the 10th, 1966, we had our first Northwester in the Cayman Islands, and at that time there was a yacht called the Pilgrim that was missing. No word of the Pilgrim at that point in time. Then of course, that Northwester, you could see the iron shore and the waves coming up there. One issue. We hear this big that there's problems now in terms of red spot, or we used to call it Dora's Bay. You know it now is where the fishermen are, and that they may be displaced from there at some point in time. I think one of the things that the government needs to consider is that we need to consider a ban on building on the iron shores of the Cayman Islands. Not only does it mean higher insurance rates for everyone in the Cayman Islands, because when Northwesters come and destroy everything, when those insurance companies have to pay out, you and I end up paying for that as well. So there should be a total ban on construction on the iron shores of the Cayman Islands. We need to preserve something, and if we continue to spread concrete over everything, then sooner or later we're going to be nothing but a concrete jungle here in the Cayman Islands. So, folks, I want to thank you for allowing Radio Cayman, and by extension, For the Record, into your homes, into your vehicles, as you traverse the busy roads of the Cayman Islands into your places of work, wherever that may be. I also want to remind you that we are our brothers and our sisters' keepers. There is always someone out there who's less fortunate than we are, and I ask you to extend a helping hand to them. If you can't do that, then I suggest you donate to a worthy charity, because we always want to consider those who need, not necessarily those who want or even those who crave. So I say to you, have a great day. Continue to support your radio station, Radio Cayman. Join Sterling, Dwayne Ebanks, or if someone is filling in for him at 12:15 for Talk Today. And as usual, we ask the good Lord to bless these three beautiful, wonderful Cayman Islands.
For the Record is brought to you by Vamped Motors, the only authorized Ford and Toyota dealership serving the Cayman Islands. Cayman Pharmacy Group, with a location in West Bay and professional pharmacy at CTMH Doctors Hospital. The Cayman Pharmacy Group has a location for you just around the corner. Seaboard Marine, with over 35 shipping ports, find your shipping solution by calling 949-4977 or visit seaboardmarine.com for competitive rates. Coca-Cola, available across the Cayman Islands from Tortuga distributors. Accept no substitutes. Taste the feeling with Coca-Cola. Brand Source Home Gallery, inspiring luxury. And Fidelity Bank. Fidelity, we're good for you.
Also brought to you by Ropers Enterprises, 122 Industrial Way. Products and services for better public health. Green Turtle. Take a ride on the Green Turtle Express today. Download the Green Turtle app, the future of mobile, saving lives today. And the Ministry of Commerce, Planning and Infrastructure. Visit energy.gov.ky/competition to win a home energy makeover worth up to $20,000.